has shown on multiple occasions that they do not share values of human rights, ethics, integrity, and respect for the law. And they received a permit under the name of a subcontractor, a deliberate dodge to keep our city and our community in the dark. They exploited our local laws by calling this a vocational training facility. I don't know if any of you would have imagined, if you had any familiarity with the zoning code, that this is what a vocational training facility would be doing in our community. I expect vocational training facilities to train people for high-quality, good-paying jobs that will contribute to our city's economy and our quality of life. And they attempted to roll over an entire community when seeking to exploit our beautiful backcountry. And I think we have to thank you folks again for turning that back. Thank you. Our city has a responsibility to our community, a responsibility to use our zoning laws responsibly and in the best interests of our citizens. And in this example, this is an example of current zoning laws letting our community down. Residents deserve to know when a facility like this is approved, before it's approved. We don't want firearms to be snuck into neighborhoods like this without stricter permitting requirements. And there should be a public process for how our lands are used for anything remotely resembling this. So I want you to know that I'll work with Mr. Hueso and our council colleagues to ensure that this kind of thing, that these kind of threats don't get through our zoning code like this. And that we're vigilant about making sure that this is not the kind of thing that we see in our city and in this neighborhood. And I want you to know that this is a bad symbol for San Diego. This is not what we want, and I'm not proud of it. And we're going to see what we can do about it. I really want to thank Congressman Filner and Councilman Hueso for taking the lead on this issue. I know, Congressman, you've been a real leader on this, steadfast, and I know you would care about this as much if it wasn't happening in your district. But we're glad you're here today, and that you called our attention to this, and that you'll be leading this battle. Thank you.
I think what the two councilmen show is that there are grounds for challenging this. There was deception, really, in the permitting. There's activities here that do not fall under the zoning laws, and they will take the lead in trying to make sure that the law is adhered to. We have other elected officials who wanted to be here but couldn't. I want to thank particularly Senator Denise Ducheney, whose district director Clarissa Reyes is here. Thank you, Clarissa. Thank the senator for her support here. There was a big coalition developed to stop Blackwater and Potrero. And it was the citizens groups that got together that in a David versus Goliath situation, they made sure that David and Davina, whatever the female version of it, prevailed. And we want to thank you for putting back this coalition together. One of the chief parts of that coalition was the Peace Resource Center, and I want to thank the director, Carol Janko, for her support.
Well, thank you, Bob. You were such a stalwart supporter with this, and you were with us from day one, and we all need to recognize that, and we thank you. I also want to thank the city officials for coming down here today and doing what their job is, and we're grateful for that. And thank you for being with us in this struggle and recognizing that Blackwater is not the kind of symbol, as Councilperson Peters said, that we want for our community. Blackwater exemplifies the worst abuses that can happen when private companies are used to carry out national policy. They are not accountable to those who hire them. No, indeed, their accountability is to their own bottom line. They are a company that profits from war and suffering. We cannot for a minute forget that Blackwater is a company that is still under investigation for the shooting of 17 innocent Iraqis last September. All indications are that the shootings were unjustified and unprovoked. At a local level, we've had a good look at Blackwater's ethics. They attempted to push through the Potrero facility with as little public scrutiny as possible, but they failed. Why? Because of public vigilance and outrage. Once the public found out The public fought back because they knew that Blackwater was not good for our community, it was not good for the environment, it's not good for the quality of life, and not good for the moral life of our community, because private mercenaries and private armies and those who train them are against all principles of decency and democracy. The people of Potrero and San Diego delivered a strong message to Blackwater. You are not wanted here. Today we repeat that message because Blackwater just doesn't seem to get it. Or actually they just don't want to get it. You are still not wanted here. And whether you lease property under another name, whether you call yourself a vocational school, or try any other ways of downplaying and disguising who you are and what you do, we know who you are, we know what you do, and we do not want you. Thank you.
The leader of the Citizens Oversight Group, which did so much to stop the Blackwater development in Potrero, is Raymond Lutz. We thank you for your leadership in the past. We know you're going to be successful here again. Thank you, Raymond. Thank you very much. And it is very nice to see the elected officials down here, and especially I want to thank Bob Filner for his support throughout this whole process. As a coordinator of Citizens Oversight and citizensoversight.org, I joined with the community and other leaders over the last year and a half to fight the Blackwater West project in Potrero, and in the process we learned of the character of Blackwater. Some people didn't believe us. They said, well, Blackwater's training the military and law enforcement, and they wave flags, and therefore they must be good guys, right? Well, their character was clearly displayed in their actions to establish this clandestine operation here in Otay. A Puerto Rican shell company operated under the fictitious name Southwest Law Enforcement to establish a vocational school is far from the transparency we need in our governmental operations. No one knew about this plan before I received the anonymous tip. Plainly speaking, shotgun and pistol range is not a vocational school. They say that they train only law enforcement and military, but why should we trust them? They're the one firm that is so extreme that they've been kicked out of lawless Iraq. And their disruptive character is certainly something we don't need in the sensitive border region. California Penal Code, Section 11460, makes paramilitary training illegal. We know that Blackwater engages in such training in other locations. What will stop them from doing it here? I'll tell you, nothing will stop them unless we stop them from coming in. Corporate executives know that it is a death sentence to outsource your core competency. In the military, training is our core competency. You take that out of the military, you've got nothing left. If you forget how to train soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, if they outsource this training to Blackwater and other subcontractors, if those subcontractors decide to switch sides or go out of business, we are defenseless. And it's something that we as Americans cannot allow. Such training must be conducted by the military in a safe and secure manner on government property and not in sensitive valleys or within steps of the CalMex border. Therefore, we must stop this activity. This operation must not open. Thank you.